special address on this occasion, sir.
Good afternoon, all of you. Shripad Yasho Naik, Honorable Minister of State for Power, a politician who has been in Lok Sabha for 6 consecutive terms. I had the good fortune to be in Lok Sabha in 1989 for 1 term. That was also not completed. So for every month I spent in Parliament, our Honorable Minister has spent 2 years. His commitment, therefore, would ensure ground realization of the objectives, and I have no doubt about it. Shri Pankaj Agrawal, Secretary Ministry of Power, brings on the table administrative experience. And I have said on several occasions, Indian bureaucracy makes entry through toughest of the examinations. They are so grilled and groomed to serve the nation. And if they are not held back, their achievements are exponential and incremental. And I have had the occasion to see this briefly when I entered the premises. First, a photograph with the children. They were teenagers, sparkling eyes, full of energy. I recall my days when from the village I went for the first time to Sunday school. My village then had no electricity, no water, no toilet. Unthinkable situations. And a scholarship put me in that situation. I still remember, we don't call them batchmates, but I can call them schoolmates. The system changed us. So when I looked at the boys and girls, I had unbelievable energy transformed into my body. And this was so ably complemented when I went through that painting exhibition. As luck would have it, and these are providential interventions, I focused on one particular painting. I read the message, and the message was, when human mind is sold, everything is sold. S-O-L-V-E-D. I am from a village. I did not say S-O-L-D. So there should be no mistake on that count. Immediately my mind was activated. That the problem which I face while sitting in the chair in Rajya Sabha, the solution is easy in the painting. When human mind is sold, everything is sold. And what a pleasant coincidence. The painting presented to me by Sahaj Chaturbhuj Ramani, class 7 student of Hillwoods School, Gandhinagar, Gujarat, was the same painting. Same painting. Shri Shrikant Nagulapalli, Director General, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and Additional Secretary, Ministry of Power. I am sure well complemented combination with the Secretary of the Department. Distinguished guests, my congratulations to the awardees and my love and affection for the children. This program is a unique program. Contours of this program transcend and encompass, transcend every activity and bring in the sweep every aspect, as was indicated by Pankaj Agarwal. Economy, energy, societal progress, to refer to just few. And therefore our convergence on this day to commemorate National Energy Conservation Day has many purposes. One, we have been facing, but the realization of that challenge is more than ever. Existential challenge to our planet Earth on account of menacing climate change. And the resolution lies not with one individual, one nation, or one organization, but Bharat as home to 1/6 of humanity and the most vibrant functional democracy on the planet has to take the lead. And therefore this is a day when we must think within. If we don't act now, we will have no time to act. As a matter of fact, we are cliffhanging. It is last of the last opportunity. Thankfully, there is global realization because humanity does not have another planet to cohabit beyond Mother Earth. This is also a realization for us how reckless we have been, how selfish we have been, how we failed ourselves, not others. And therefore on this day, we have to take a call. Every individual in his or her right can contribute to this great mission, which is so very vital. The climate change, the crisis, the threatening problem, obliterate social barriers, rich or poor, urban or rural. We either act together or we perish together. When we faced COVID, I reflected that COVID is a non-discriminatory challenge. It affected all, rich, high and mighty, as also ordinary people like me. But the challenge had to be met in unison, in tandem, in togetherness. And a nation of 1.4 billion people overcame the challenge in a spirit of universal brotherhood by not only helping itself, but by helping 100 other nations with co-vaccine. And what a remarkable feat that was, that we became the only country in the world to make available digital certificates to one and all. That digital certification was a facet of energy conservation. When I attended a conference at Phnom Penh, I reflected to one of the global leaders that in your country you take care of paper industry. He was baffled. He couldn't understand the context of it. Obviously, he said, "How come you say so?" I said, "In your country, a large country, you give digital certificates? No. You give certificates on paper for co-vaccine. That has impact on environment. Paper industry does grow. In my country, we don't do that." And this was amazing for him. So conservation has several facets. Systemic conservation, conservation by the group, and more importantly, conservation by the individual. Let us not mistake, friends, consumption and conservation. With our exponential economic growth, unprecedented rise in infrastructure, activities like Make in India and Make for the entire world, energy is required. We have taken steps in the country where no longer there is calibration that energy is being supplied to a village, energy is being supplied to a household. So consumption will go up. How do we conserve? That is the point in issue. And how do we act in a manner that we generate least damage to environment, ecology? And therefore, I come to the awardees. The awardees demonstrated the power of innovation. I have not had the occasion to discuss with them in detail, but briefly I could get a feel of it. They are drawn from cement industry, textile industry, and I know out of my experience as a lawyer, there are industries that can really do a great job, because energy conservation needs stringent audit, self-audit also, and audit from outside. The surest way to degenerate an individual or an institution is to keep it away from scrutiny or probe. The moment someone thinks or an institution thinks we are beyond probe, degeneration starts. Let us apply this rigorous principle rigorously when it comes to conservation of energy. Friends, we need immediate, decisive and corrective action. Government mandates, industrial transformation and radical citizen commitment. We have civilizational ethos of thousands of years. Our Vedas, Purans, our epics, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Gita's wisdom. If we look into that gold mine, we get real inspiration that conservation had always been a key factor, a facet of life. Conservation also does something very important. We have seen people displaying by conspicuous consumption. That no longer is in vogue, now it's declining. And from that perspective, our ancient wisdoms foresaw this crisis. The Shanti parts in the shape of a plea for environment harmony is no longer a philosophy. It has to be translated into action. Our desperate cry for survival is encapsulated in Dayo hai, Shanti hai, Prithvi Shanti hai. We need peace in sky. We need peace on earth. And we cannot have peace or harmony or tranquility unless there is an ecosystem that is affirmative for existence. Our civilizational wisdom is a heritage, and I would say, in a sense, survival manual, encyclopedic for this climate emergency. Bharatiya Sanskriti's sacred view of nature is a way of life will prevent environmental collapse. Look at our religious functions. Look at our sloks. Look at our method of worship. We invariably nurture nature, worship nature. We ensure by these activities that nature is nurtured and blossomed. And the Prime Minister, therefore, in such a situation, gave a clarion call that has become Jan Andolan, Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. It is started as a modest way. I can tell you it is Jan Andolan. It is on this day we must take a pledge. Each one of us at least will have Ek Ped for Maa Ke Naam. Will nurture it, take care of it. This is our societal obligation. It is started also with Swachh Bharat. Initially, these things come in for some kind of sharp attack or ridicule. But we have seen now how waste is being created into wealth. And therefore, time for us to change our mindset. Our fiscal strength, our fiduciary power cannot be a determining factor for utilization of natural resources, for utilization of energy. If people think I can afford, I want them to revisit their thoughts. This is not yours. It's a collective to the entire humanity. And therefore an obligation on us that there has to be optimal utilization of resources, optimal utilization of energy. And here comes the question. We must audit in our home, in our workplace, but more importantly, I'll appeal. Government machinery also needs to audit. This is one area which we take for granted, but it is fundamental. Every man, every woman working in a place must ensure there is no waste of energy. Once we do it, we will be contributing hugely, because individually the step may not be large in volume. Collectively, it will be an astronomical figure. Our resources on the planet are not infinite. They are limited. If we engage in reckless exploitation, then we are depriving our future generations what is their due. Thankfully, innovation and research have made available to us alternative sources, renewable sources. In G20, the nation took great initiative. And the initiative was the energy front also. But before that also, we could galvanize, catalyze International Solar Alliance. It is headquartered in National Capital Region. Countries more than 100 are its members. Now I find accessibility and adaptability of renewable energy in villages very extensive. A great innovative idea has converged itself into a policy decision that every house will have solar power. If we go to our Constitution, and we are in the last quarter of the century of adoption of the Indian Constitution, and today is a day when debate is taking place in Lok Sabha. Monday, Tuesday it will be in Rajya Sabha. Constitution has given us fundamental rights, but also fundamental duties. And when there is a challenge in the family, in society, in a group, or before the nation, we relegate our rights and give precedence to duties. I invite your attention in particular to Article 51, capital A. It is just not constitutional guidance. It has to be way of life with us. If we focus on those duties, energy conservation will be one of them. Equitable growth will be another. And these things, these duties are to be performed by individuals, and they are easy to perform. They are easily performable. They only require a positive mindset and an attitude. We have set a target. India's 2070 carbon neutrality pledge, I would say, isn't ambitious enough. Climate chaos is overtaking us, and we must therefore act faster. The International Solar Alliance $1 trillion goal isn't just investment. It is life insurance for us. It's assurance of a dignified life. Quite often I wonder, and so I spoke to faculty and students of IIT Kanpur, that the national capital suffers every year on account of hazardous environmental situation arising out of burning openly. We must get into innovation mode, find a systemic solution. It should not be left to individuals. The system must come of age. I have been assured by the director, IIT Kanpur, that he'll look into the matter. Just imagine our lack of attention, our negligence is putting us in jeopardy in several ways. One, our health. Second, loss of hours of work. Third, disruption of normal life. And fourth, we need to take care of our children. We are giving them a heavy dose. You can't go to school on this day because pollution is very high. And therefore, everyone must converge to contribute what he or she can. Friends, the government has many policies, and the policies are being realized on the ground effectively. Otherwise, we wouldn't see rural landscape being so positively changed when it comes to renewable energy. Meeting 2030 renewable targets early, I wouldn't call it achievement. It is imperative to keep pace with the to keep pace with the crisis which is falling. We don't have to anticipate, we can see it. One of the achievements of G20 was with respect to biofuels. The national biofuel policy is now much beyond a policy document. It's emergency response to petroleum addiction. We are the world's third largest bioethanol producer. We are being accredited for it. And this is turning out its use as a baseline strategy for survival. The bioenergy program is another important facet that will yield results. Green hydrogen. India is one of the few countries that are taking lead into it. Green hydrogen mission, the government has already committed 18,000 crores. By 2030, green hydrogen mission will generate huge investment of 8 lakh crores and employment for 6 lakh people. This is an indication that the government is moving in the right direction. But it requires people's cooperation also. Friends, I would therefore suggest also that we must impart to our children education about environment. They must be early learners of this menacing situation. I have indicated to the Honorable Minister, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, and I'm so happy to tell you, it's a work in progress. Youth innovation isn't just creativity. It's last-minute solutions we desperately need. I find for the first time, unlike my generation, that there is an ecosystem in place in the country that allows every youth in the country to unleash his or her energy, exploit his or her talent, potential, and reach the goal, realize aspirations. That ecosystem will be disrupted if we do not attend to this alarming scenario. Friends, we have no choice. There's only one way out. The way out is we will give all we can, individually and collectively, for energy conservation. Dialogue, discussion, debate are important. But when you have some time, here there is no time. I'll conclude with one aspect. Again, going back to that painting. Energy conservation of the individual is also important. The thought occurred to me the moment I looked at the painting, that if we in Parliament, including myself, we conserve our energy, think within first, motivate ourselves with a spirit of nationalism, then the results are bound to be very rewarding. So conservation of energy of the individual in the effort is also vital. If we use our energy, it will be dissipation. But if we use our energy wisely, in a prudent manner, it will be fruition and societal gain. I am extremely happy to associate myself. And what I have seen, I am greatly touched with respect to both the young boys and girls, their paintings, and also greatly accolade the involvement of the industry. But just think, is it enough? Should it not become a revolution? Should the entire industrial stream, trade, commerce, industry, business, social groups, NGOs, and individuals come together to participate in this great marathon march? Because the nation has set a target for itself to be a developed nation by 2047, when we have centennial celebrations of our independence. And if all goes well and this goes wrong, then our plans, not only our plans, plans of everyone on the planet will be upset. Wish you good luck. I take the pledge. I'm sure so would you. Thank you.